Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us on another session of our AMA. It's nice to be back. We've been away for a few sessions with everything going on in the policing community, but certainly it's nice to be back. There's a few announcements. I want to kind of highlight some events that I want to speak about. But one thing I do want to start on, which is our women's symposium that is happening tomorrow in Aurelia at our OPP General Headquarters. So this event, it's a one-day event that we're hosting to celebrate the women in policing. This event marks a powerful and historic moment for the OPP and the policing community and the country. The whole point of this event is essentially to inspire and bring members of the organization, the public, and leaders of our community together to highlight our commitment to women in policing. And this event specifically is intentionally designed to support women who are exploring the policing career. It's meant to provide a space to ask questions and address common barriers that are specific to women and those that are considering this profession. We also have, a milestone tomorrow to that in terms of how that is delivered and what that means for with hiring, especially women in this profession. And for those of you that did sign up on Eventbrite, registration is closed, but for those of you that are signed up, we look forward to having you at the event with you and showcasing what the OPP has to offer for a potential career that you can engage in. The whole day is broken down with the attendees having the opportunity to explore a large career marketplace featuring a wide range of OPP specialty units, showcasing the diverse, impactful roles in our organization hold. At this event, you'll also have the unique opportunity to hear from various the OPP, including leaders from various units within the organization, who will essentially share their experience as women in law enforcement. And these conversations are designed to encourage mentorship and to support the achievement of women. This will be tomorrow in Aurelia. So for those of you that are registered and attending, we look forward to having you. And I want to kind of highlight that because a huge milestone for us as we move forward with this initiative. Moving on along the way, I see people are on our social media platforms. I will get to your questions in just a moment, but I do want to highlight some of the other things that are going on as we approach start of July. A busy few summer months ahead for us. So I want to make sure that I highlight some of the events that we will be going to. But if you want to know the depth of all four, please visit opp.ca/events. You'll be able to see all the different events that are coming up, and we keep adding every events that we coordinate and organize. We need to attend them. So that's something that I want to highlight. The other event that we're hosting, which is for the weekend coming up of July 17th and 18th, will be our bilingual bound happening in Sudbury, Ontario at Cambrian College. Again, for those already signed up that are aware of it, you probably already had our members reach out to you for the registration package. We had a chance to speak to some of you that are still sending in your packages. So please send that in as soon as possible so we can finalize your registration and to have you there. It's a 2-day event happening July 17th and 18th. The 17th will be a full-day event highlighting engagement, specialty roles, hiring processes, and essentially making you understand what it means to essentially work for the OPP. And the second day will focus on our fitness session, which we are opening up to everyone that's interested in attending. So please look out for the registration on our Eventbrite. We will also be sending that registration link on our social media platforms. When you're able to register, please do, and show up for our second day, which is the 18th event. Moving on to some of the events that we're hosting specifically for women, focusing on the information session. So currently we are starting to roll out dedicated information sessions for females only. We will be doing that for July and August in our Aurelia detachments. The registrations for them will go out shortly. Go on our website through Eventbrite, register. We usually host maybe 15 max per session, but this is led by our female officers and recruiters. You're able to engage and understand what that looks like as you're going through the process from a female's perspective. So again, it's usually held at our Aurelia detachment. So it also gives you an understanding of what that detachment's like, what the work's like. If you're interested in working or picking that location as one of your preferred postings. So again, that is something that will be coming up. And then another big event that we are holding for is our Honda in Indy that's happening August 14, 15, and 16 in York region. So certainly we are all scheduled. A lot of our recruiters will be there all 3 days, a 3-day event. So if you're planning to be there for the racing, great. Please stop by our recruitment area. Or certainly if you're looking to just engage with us and understand or have a platform where you can come and meet us, we look forward to having you there. Again, all the details will be promoted on our social media platforms and our opp.ca/events on our OPP website. Again, that's August 14th, 15th, and 16th. Looking ahead for East region, I want to highlight this. We're having a few events targeted specifically in the East region and specifically at our Queen West detachment. It's a detachment that's close to me because that's where I started off when I was hired as an officer, and I will be there for some of these events. But starting July 20th, we'll be hosting our bilingual information session at 11 a.m. Again, please go and register for it if you're interested in coming. And then July 21st, we will have 2 sessions, the general information session, one in the morning and one in the afternoon. The morning session is at 10 a.m. and the afternoon session will be at 1 p.m. Followed by July 22nd, we'll be hosting a women's focused information session. Again, where we will have specifically female members and female recruiters running the session for you to have a platform, a safe environment to talk about and discuss topics that are beneficial to you in terms of what this means, the process, not only the hiring process, but also the training process, and eventually you hit the road as an officer, what that looks like. So certainly that's another one that we are hosting on July 22nd. And then July 23rd at 10 a.m. will be a shuttle run session at Queen West. Again, all these sessions are in the Queen West area. So please, if you're able to attend, we look forward to seeing you there so we can provide the answers that you're looking for when it comes to our hiring processes. And finally, just something that I want to touch on based on the news that came out of Durham Regional Police Service with 2 recruits that were on their way to Ontario Police College that were involved in a tragic collision with one of the recruits passing away and the other one still in recovery. So our thoughts and prayers are with the families and the Durham Regional Police Service. Such a heart-wrenching situation, and with everything that has gone on, not only within our service, but the policing family in a broader perspective. Certainly it's a somber moment. So I just want to take the moment to kind of highlight that and speak to it, acknowledge it as you know, we're thinking of Durham Regional Police Service, but the family members of that recruit. So I just want to kind of highlight that. Again, so going back to, you know, our back, we were away for a few sessions, but certainly always nice to be back, and thank you for joining. I see the questions are coming in to many of them as I can. So please use the chat box to send in your messages regarding anything that you have or anything that you want to know information on as we prep for our next intake, which is happening in September. I know your job offers as you prep for the calls. I've already gotten emails and text messages thanking our recruiters and myself for, you know, able to help and mentor through the process. So certainly looking forward to having many of you join this intake. Certainly the one after this would be, which is the next intake after this one. So question here, question about the pen test and your run. Question is, where is it that you want the run to happen? As you know, in our hiring process right now, our current fitness is shuttle run. That is what you're being assessed on, which is level 7 on the shuttle. The 1.5 mile run and the pin test is not part of the hiring process at this time, but this is a test that you will be doing when you get to academy, or certainly at the Ontario Police College. You'll do as a group. Usually our 1.5 mile runs are, outside. We conduct them outside. We do them outside. The pin test, again, we do them certainly in the appropriate environment at the academy. So again, for the hiring process specifically, it's level 7. You can do that inside. You can do that in a gym. Sessions, we indoor environment. Again, if you go to opp.ca/events, you can sign up for all of our shuttle run sessions. And if you do attend the shuttle run sessions, we give you the opportunity to collect your 30-day shuttle run certificate, which gives you the opportunity our fitness process in the hiring session. So if you're able to submit your shuttle run certificate with your application, allows you to move file to the next stage, essentially saving you potentially time to get your application through the entire process. So Prasad, certainly look forward to having your shuttle run for our application, or if you enjoy running the 1.5 do indoor or outdoor, wherever you see benefit for that. Okay. Question here, I'm just trying to roll down to hear back from the OPP recruitment if you move on to the next stage. So one of the great things with our new hiring portal that you'll see if you go to opp.ca/careers, you'll see to start an application, you have an internal portal that you would sign up for. In the portal, see in real time where your application is. Is it in process, where it's moving along, right? Again, it kind of gives understanding of, is it active, is there something that's missing? If there's documentation or information that's missing in your application, we will usually get back to you letting you know, hey, information is that we're looking for, so we can process your application to the next stage. The entire process is about 4 to 6 months, but again, it could be quicker, be a bit further than that, or it might take a bit longer depending on your totality of the application. Every single candidate has different information, different employment, family history. So that determines how much focus or intent we put on each application. But usually for of our candidates are coming back. The system that we have, the process we have in place, they're moving very quickly. Sometimes 3 months for the application. And as you know, we hire 4 times a year. We hire every day, with the next one coming up in September. The one after that is end of December into January. So every 3 months we're hiring for the Ontario Police College. So please get your application in. There's no rush. Make sure you take your time to put all the information that you need. The application to our there's no delays with the application. All right. Trying to here. Let me see what else that I missed. One of the most common reasons applications cleaned out. So it could be missing documentation, not meeting the minimum requirements. I really highly encourage you to go before you read our minimum requirements. You can find this on opp.ca/careers, and also please make sure you read the frequently asked questions. We always update our frequently the type of info that you need to understand the whole process and every section of our process, so that way you have the correct information. When you fill out, unsure of specific questions that pertain to you, please reach out to us. You can reach out to us via email, social media, even one of the detachments that you want to speak to a recruiter. I work out of the Toronto detachment. So if you have questions, please reach out to me there. How you reach out to us to get back to you with the info that you need. So again, application misinformation, they're missing information, not understanding the process or the requirements. Those are what I usually see at the application stage. And as you go through each of the other stages at the fitness or the interview stage, certainly different from fitness stage, very straightforward. You have to be able to meet level 7 on the shuttle. That is what we're looking for. If you're able to achieve more than level 7, great. That speaks to your commitment to fitness. But we're looking for 7 and beyond, right? If you are struggling with your fitness, sure that you can get your level 7 before submitting the application. If you submit the application and then when we ask you to submit the fitness requirement and you're not able to do delay on your application, so please make sure that you're capable of putting or reaching level 7 before you go through the process. Your application is not denied. Okay. Let me just look here. I think the question, same thing. Address this early. The current class that we're hiring for is for September. The one after that will be in the end of December, and then it going on an every 3-month cycle after that, right? For CPR, the question about CPR, we require level C CPR and first standard first aid. That's what's required for you when you go through our process. But I also want to highlight 2 things. You don't need the first aid and level C CPR right at the that certification. Recommend is, if you're not looking to spend that money right up front with the job offer, or if you're intending to give you the job offer, we will also notify you, hey, you know what, please go get your certified level state CPR. Way you're spending money towards the cause of getting the job, right? And the other thing that I want to also highlight is the OECP certificate. I know a lot of our municipal do require the OECP certificate, but for the OPP, we do not require that. For our process, it's internal, so everything is done in-house, so you don't need to pay. So thank you for that question. Another question here between specialized units or different regions. So it's two different things. I'll try to break it down in a simple. When you're hired with the OPP, you will go through training at the Provincial Academy. You will start the training at the Interior Police. Once you're successful there, you will then move on to the Provincial Police Academy for your post academy training. And once you successfully graduate, so again, that's where you start off as a police officer, that learning the bread and butter of your role as a frontline police officer. Everyone starts as a officer. Usually officers in their after they turn first class, it takes about 3.5 years to go as a constable to a first class constable once you successfully pass probation. Usually at the 5-year mark, I would say usually officers start looking at units. Again, we have hundreds and hundreds of units with specialty roles available within the organization. And as you become comfortable and confident in your skills, as you start to look at where you want to project your career, you can go on our internal website and throughout the entire process, your application and the internal application for the specialty unit that you're looking to apply for. Sometimes you can even do a temporary job shadowing opportunity just to see what that role is all about. And if it's something that you are very, very interested in, certainly now you can apply for it. In process, each role will have different qualifications method in terms of interview, practical scenarios, or even physical testing that you may pass, depending on what the role is. And then you would be, if you're successful in that hiring process, now you would become a specialty officer, maybe if it's an ERT officer, emergency response unit, or if you're a canine officer, or, many roles that you can go into happen very similarly like that. But I would say usually in 3 to 5 year mark is when officers really transition to think about what their next step in their career is, and they start pursuing it. So that's how it would usually happen anyway. Question. I have my interview this month, so I was wondering if I make it likely be much later. Interview point is about halfway through the entire hiring process. If you Is it possible that maybe you might have a shot to make the September class? Possibly, but again, you still would have the background and the psychological assessment stage. Depending on how fast you're able to complete those stages, because as you can imagine, there are still everything to different stage of the hiring process. So a lot of factors come into play. With a little bit of luck, if you're able to get all the other stages completed before our managers review and set the class for the final date, possibly. You know what? Fingers crossed. Anything can happen. Focus on the next stage at hand, which is your interview stage. Prepare for that. Make sure you're ready for it. And then let the chips fall where they may. If it happens, certainly I'm sure you'll be very, very lucky to get into it. But naturally, if you don't, get to the end line for the cutoff date for the September class, usually what will happen is you will move on for the eligibility for the December intake. Either way, it's a win-win. All right. So look at the positive side of that. All right. Moving right along here. What does training look like after you are hired? So various things happen from a training perspective. I can kind of break down in terms of what it is that you're expecting, right? When you go to, say, for example, the Provincial Academy, what that looks like compared to the Ontario Police College, what that looks like. So various different things. So just like anything, most of our recruits will get a phone call from our hiring manager or even our coordinator once they're hired. The Provincial Academy is your orientation week period. This is where you meet recruits that you will be training for. Whether it's at, you will all report to the Ontario Police, the Aurelia General Headquarters, where you get all your kit. You get to meet all your instructors. You will stay at the academy here in Aurelia for the duration of that first week, which is usually orientation week. After that, you will do your 13 weeks of training, which is provided by the Ontario Police College. Again, this is just as so, and you need to be successful in multiple facets within the Ontario Police College. 3 weeks of the 13-week course is done virtually. You're provided virtual training by Ontario Police College, and the next weeks after training held in Aylmer, Ontario, where the Ontario Police College is located, and during the training through a lot of training in terms of your firearms, your police vehicle operations, your training, all your Highway Traffic Act, the Criminal Code, the Mental Health Act, so on and on to different areas. And you'll have 2 exams, term exam, and you also need to pass a final exam. And the exam passing grade is 75%. You have to get over 75% to these concepts for you to be successful. Once you graduate from Ontario Police College, you'll then return back to the Provincial Police Academy back in Aurelia. Now, this is where you start Part A and Part B of the Provincial Police Academy training. The first part is a 6-week academy where you are trained further in practical and judgment-based scenario training with just the OPP recruits. After completing the 6 weeks, you'll report to your location where you're posted for 13 weeks, where you'll have a chance to, put into practice everything that you learned. So after the 6 weeks, you'll have your graduation. You'll be sworn in as a police officer. You'll report to your detachment for the next 13 weeks. Coach officer, working with your coach officer, learning, all the relevant information that you learned from a theoretical and training perspective. Now you will be out there interacting with the public. Once the 13-week wraps up, you'll then return back to the the Provincial Academy, 4 weeks of post-academy training, just to top up on some of the areas that you learned or trained or put into practice once you reported. Our training is broken down. Again, one thing I should mention, again, all your cost for is all covered. And while you're in training, you're also paid. And obviously on a different band, you're paid as a recruit. And once you graduate from training with road as a probationary constable, now your salary is gone up to the probationary rate, so which is also a good thing, right? Here, going back, sorry, I went off on a tangent there, totally running into the training part. I'm going to try to catch up on some of the questions here. Question about OPC's 13 weeks with 3-week online period. Is the OPC start date in October, the start date for the online portion of the in-person? So the start date for OPC is usually in September. That's when the OPC portion will start. Usually we will send you reporting date looks like. Usually you will complete the orientation at the academy first, and then you would report to the 3-week virtual training is done. Okay. Question here. If I were to do the shuttle run offered by the OPP before submitting the application and not make the level 7 required, would I be able to do it again? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you can always sign up and attend as many of our shuttle run sessions as needed. There is no limitations or cutoff. If you haven't submitted the application, you can attend as many sessions to get your shuttle run certificate. And once you obtain the shuttle run certificate, now you can use that, attach it to your application, submit your application to go through the process. So it goes back to my point earlier. Don't submit the application if you either are not ready or not prepared, or you know that you're not capable of the shuttle run. It's just going to delay your application, right? So only submit the application if you know you're capable of getting level 7. So that way you're not unnecessarily putting a pause on the application, the progression of your application. Okay. Question here. I want to do the shuttle run again. Will there be events coming near Lambton, Windsor, Essex area? Yes, we will be. As you can imagine, we try to travel across the province, but the province is vast. That's one of the things I've learned joining the OPP. It's a vast province. So again, we try to do our best to rotate the events. We try to have one session per region. We also have to consider the factor availability of space. As you can imagine, not every single location has the availability of space. So we try to get spaces that work for people, but I understand some of the locations is a long drive for people. So based on feedback that we get from candidates that attend our session via email, we try to implement that as we move forward. So please go on to opp.ca/events to see where the next one is. Or if you have a preference of an event or a location that you want us to host, send us an email or shoot us an info on our social media platform, and we will try to implement that as we move forward. Question here. I moved to Canada 10 years ago. Will my employment in India still be verified during the background check? I have my experience letters, but the companies no longer exist. Absolutely. So when you go through our application process, we ask you to submit all your employment history. So every single job, whether it's in Canada or your previous country that you lived in or worked in, yes, we do require it. Do the best you can to put as much information as possible, because we understand some companies close down, people move, your supervisors or people that you work with move to different positions. That happen. And we've dealt with this in numerous facets. So do the best you can to put as much information as you can, and you do have to disclose every single position that you've had in the past. And then we will do the best we can to work with you to address all the issues that maybe we have questions on. Okay. Question, can you provide some information on if a person applied to the OPP as a constable, can they apply as a member of another program area such as the auxiliary or cadet? Depending on what the situation is, Again, when you go through the process, if we see eligibility in you for another position, certainly that is something we will consider. If we're unable to offer you another position, usually you are declined and you have to wait the timeline before you can apply to another position. And the reason for this is we want you to make sure that some of the areas that maybe you did not perform strong in or you need further experience in, this 1 year, you'll take that time to enhance those areas, get the experience, get the certification, the training, or the employment. If we, let you just apply over and over again to different positions, how is that beneficial to you? How are you getting the enhancement or the training or the improvement as an overall applicant? So the year that we give you to kind of refocus, regroup is meant for exactly that, to come back as a stronger candidate, as a better candidate, so that way you can achieve your dream, whether it's in the constable process or another process. So certainly I think that's the goal of ours, to not stop you from achieving your goal, but to give you the incentive to work on yourself and reflect on where you can improve on, so that way when you come back again, you're a better candidate for it. Okay. Question here about how long is the hiring process? When you're in intake, is it OPC? Does the OPC intake portion is of the training is 13 weeks, with being virtually the first provided by the police college, and the next 10 weeks being in-person training at the Ontario Police College. Okay. Another question here, if the job offer is received in October for joining the December cohort, do you receive recruit salary despite not being? No. That would be nice, but no, that it doesn't work that way. So you will start collecting the salary the first day you report for duty, which is the first day when you show up for the orientation in Orillia. That's when you start collecting salary. If your job offer was given to you in October and your training doesn't start till December, no, we do not pay for that. All right. So hopefully you have some other avenues for your salary when it comes. Great questions though. You have to ask the question. You don't know if you don't ask. So I like that. Here, if I do the PIN or the shuttle with another police service, can I utilize that for the OPP application? No, you won't be able to do it because our recruiters have to assess your certification. So there's two ways you can do that. If you come in person to our OPP shuttle, are there to observe you doing the shuttle run in person. And then we also provide you the shuttle run certificate as part of that testing phase if you're able to achieve level 7 on the shuttle run. And you can utilize that certificate to bypass the fitness stage in our hiring process. The second option is you are able to submit the application online. And once we process your application, we will send you a request to submit the shuttle run session, either virtual and in person afterwards. Virtually, you'll self-record yourself doing the shuttle with the parameters that we indicate. And then we will assess your virtual session. And then we will, if we're satisfied that you're capable of achieving level 7, we will then let you go in the process and move to the next stage of the hiring process, which is the interview stage. And you know what, speaking about that, maybe I'll highlight that a little bit in terms of what our stages look like in terms of the hiring process. Initially is the application submissions phase. You'll go on the opp.ca/careers, virtual or the online applications. Now you would have to create a login for yourself. And this platform you can utilize where you can work on your application, save it, come back to it later. It doesn't all have to be done instantaneously right away. So you can slowly gather all the that you need. Rush for you to simply look through everything, or even have someone proofread it, missing any pertinent or detailed information which could delay your application. Once your application is submitted, the next stage would be a fitness stage. Again, as I mentioned, fitness stage in person by showing up to one of our events, or you can also do it virtually by self-recording. What we're looking for is level 7. And the only thing that we currently test you on from a shuttle run perspective is that, only that. There's no pin thing. testing, we only do the shuttle, and we have to be confident that you can reach level 7 on the shuttle. The prep test and the PIN, those are testing that you will do at the Inter-Police College and the Provincial Police Academy. But for the hiring process, it's just the shuttle run testing, level 7, and we do it twice. First at the start of the hiring process, and once after you receive your job offer, we will ask you to come and do the test again, just to make sure you're ready for training. The stage after the fitness stage would be your pre-screen assessment. So this is where we assess if you're eligible to be invited for an interview. Currently, our interviews are done in person and virtually. If it's an in-person request for you, that's something we're currently piloting through our process. But majority of our interviews are done virtually. And interviews, just a one-on-one interview with someone like myself. I could be popping on your screen for your virtual interview. And the whole interview, many people are nervous in preparing for the interview. Like rightfully so, I understand the nervousness that comes with preparing for the interview. But the entire interview is about you. We focus on the 10 areas of assessments. Again, if you go on our website, you'll be able to see that. But entire conversations about the whole process is about you, your experience that you bring to the table, whether it's education or employment, your community service experience that you may have, the type of lifestyle and the life experience that you bring to the table, the leadership qualities that you may have that is transferable to the OPP or the profession. We look at your driving history. How long have you been driving for? What sort of infractions that you've had? We try to understand what sort of decisions you made as a driver throughout your driving history. We assess your overall communication skills, right? What sort of ability do you have when it comes to communicating with the public, or based on jobs that you've had or experiences that you had where you had to interact with the public. We assess your special skills. I speak a different language. I certainly special skill come in handy for me many times when I've dealt with people in good and bad situations. So certainly we'll assess different special skills that you already have experience in or training on that you're able to bring to the table. Certainly, we'll assess your physical fitness and your mental preparation for this career. And finally, we just want to know the motivation that you have for this profession. What is it about you that's motivating you to pursue this profession? It's a challenging profession. Certainly there's an element of danger in this profession, but certainly we want to know what makes you want the profession and why do you want to pursue it. So, those are the 10 areas that we assess you on as you're going through the interview stage. We understand, people are nervous, and I've seen many people get their nerves kind of take over in the interview. But I think all of our recruiters are very, very good at identifying that and noticing it and making sure the environment that we that's come to share and articulate yourself to the best of your ability, and share information you that gives us the insight to make the decision on if you're the right fit for us currently as you sit, right? So I think we'll walk away from the interview feeling very, very motivated, feeling enriched in that experience that they had from the interview. I would say certainly it's a good one. And if you're successful at the interview stage, you'll move on to a background investigation. If you're unsuccessful at the interview stage, certainly it's a 1-year wait before you can apply to us again. So that's usually what will happen. If you're successful starting going on to the background and psychological assessment, those things will happen simultaneously as you go through the process. We'll have a background investigator that's assigned to your file. Now, they'll speak to all your references, your family members, the people you've provided to us that you want us to speak to, but also people that maybe you didn't think we would reach out to. We will also look at that and speak to them. So that's one stage portion. Simultaneously, you'll also be doing your written psychological assessment, and you'll also have a one-on-one psychological interview with one of our psychologists or psychometrists. And you'll also do a Sigma assessment, which is a 35-minute time test to assess your reading, writing, and comprehension of your English language. So that is what would happen on the background side of it. And once we finish all the stages, We will then finally do a final review of your application from start to finish, where we compile all the information that we have collected throughout your assessment, your interviews, your background and psych. And then now we just go through it to see if you have what it takes to be a constable with us. And usually, if it's a yes, you're going to get that phone call from us with an offer of employment. And when you go through our hiring process, you're able to pick 6 detachments across the province in terms of where you potentially want to work. And usually we'll try to give you one of the 6 that you pick. And when we call you with the job offer, the first sentence will probably be, congratulations, we want to offer you a conditional offer of employment. And the second sentence would be, where is it that you're being posted? We're going to actually tell you where you're going, so there's no surprise. You actually know where you're going to be posted. So it's great in that sense. I think we do a tremendous job of giving most of our applicants the locations that they prefer. So it's a great situation, and all the culmination of all the hard work and energy that you put into the process ends when you get that phone call. So it's certainly a benefit to you, and certainly a new process starts for you as you prepare for training. Okay. Getting back to some of the questions here. Let's see here. I think I missed a few here, but I'll try to work through that. Can a recruit request feedback from a recruiter or background investigator about their detachment choices? Asking for detachment suggestions with hiring chances or profile compatibility. So I'll answer it this way. No matter which detachment you pick across the province, it's not going to give you an extra leverage or hiring chance. Your application, your candidacy will be compared just like any other location. So we don't pick candidates based on where you want to be hired, based on where you select the location. We still will assess you on your strength of your application, your skill sets that you bring to the table. That is what we're going to assess you on. Where you want to go, that plays no part in whether you get hired, right? Certainly, we have a need to fill detachments across the whole province. There are vacancies across the entire province. So we look at filling those gaps accordingly, depending on people where they want to go. But in no way are we going to be picking someone or bypassing them through the process just because they want to go to a specific area where we have a strong need to fill that location. So that is something I just want to kind of clarify there. Is there a mock interview that we offer prior to the interview? Unfortunately, no. I think last year we processed over or more than the clerk position alone. For us to provide that sort of a service, I understand it of me many times. Asking for mock interviews. It's not realistic for us to able to offer that based on all of it. We provide interviews, we conduct regular interviews, but we also provide auxiliary interviews, cadet interviews. So at this point, candidates go into the private sector to get coaching or interview prep. So that is something you can look up and see if you can utilize. If you certainly feel maybe the interviewing portion is not your strength, I would encourage you that on a private side, see where you can get help or get topped up, so that way you're ready for the interview. Okay. Question about where are we hiring? What detachments are looking to hire more constables? I would say across the province, we're always looking to fill detachments, because imagine there's a lot of movement that happens from detachments to regions. Constables are constantly moving to different areas, creating vacancies. Constables are being promoted to special units or units. Again, creates more front line. So again, every single detachment across the whole province is eligible to encourage you to consider picking detachments that work for you, your personal situation, your family situation, depending on where you feel comfortable with home. If you're looking to try a new area or a different location as you start this career, I would really encourage you to go to that detachment, go introduce yourself, let the person know, I'm looking to apply to come here. Can you tell me a bit about this location or this area that I want to come to? Many of our detachment members would be more than happy to sit down and chat with you, kind of experience was like there, what they can know or what they can share about coming and working there. Some detachments even offer you, depending on detachment preferences or detachment command preference. So reach out, call them, talk to them. They're more than happy to share a lot of information that that might be helpful for you as you select the detachment that you want to go to. So even if you go on our website, we have a list of detachments that is broken down region to region that highlight not only the duration postings for our Northeast and Northwest region, but all the other detachments that fall within cluster. So take the time to understand it, see where it's located. You can Google map it, and that way you have an understanding of where these places are physically located. And again, I really, really encourage you to drive down to these locations when the time is right, so that way you can show up and speak to someone. Make sure you call ahead to make sure maybe you book a session with them, so that way they're available and they can accommodate your request. Okay. Again, great questions and great engagement. I see the questions are still coming in, so thank you for that. Does the Police Foundation program help be hired or help in preparing for this career? It totally depends. Again, it's not a requirement. You don't need to have the Police Foundation program to apply to be a police officer. People that have gone through the Police Foundations program and have graduated from there, and then they've applied to us. But we've also had people never taken any law enforcement education. So it totally depends on what you feel is good for you or comfortable for you, or will make you feel profession. Again, Police Foundation programs are offered by various colleges throughout the GTA and beyond. So look at the program. There is a cost associated to taking that program through the colleges. So it totally depends on what it is that you're looking for from that program. That's going to benefit you, give you the confidence and the preparation in going through and being hired by a police service. I would say absolutely go do it. But just know that it's not a requirement, need for you to have it. Okay. Social work and volunteering really make a difference in your pursuit of this profession or being hired. Again, one of the areas of assessment is volunteering. How have you given back to the community? In our profession, we work with the public on a regular basis. We do assess you on your volunteering. Again, and there's two things when you come and approach this from a volunteering perspective, formal and informal. Formal volunteering is where you're volunteering with an organization, giving committed time, maybe, once a week or twice a week, 2 to 4 hours. That would be considered formal volunteering. Maybe if you go to the soup kitchen every Sunday, you're doing 2 hours to give back to the community. Again, that would be a formal volunteering. Informal volunteering could be where you're giving up your own time to court. Maybe neighbors grass because they're elderly, they're not capable of doing it. So you cut their grass maybe bi-weekly, and that's on a consistent basis, maybe 2 to 3 hours you do that. That would be considered informal. We want to know where you're giving your time to help others. That is what we're talking about. Many of you probably do this, but we want you to highlight it for us and put on paper what it is that you're doing to showcase that you're doing this. Okay, so that's what that would be about. I think the question here, I think kind of addressed it. If you get a job offer, what's the process of selecting a detachment? What incentives are offered or not available? So again, when it comes to our Northeast and Northwest regions, we are offering obviously a financial incentive for that. It's called duration posting. Based on where you select the detachments, there is a financial incentive that we offer you, whether it's a 2, 3, 4, 5-year duration. We will offer you that. If you go on our website, you'll be able to see which detachments those are that we offer that financial incentive. But again, if you are picking a detachment, whether it's East, West, Central, or even our division, there is no financial incentive for it. And you would pick the detachments as you're going through the application. When you're going through the application, you would pick the 6 detachments that you're considering that you want us to know for your posting location. And we will try to give you one of the 6 that you pick. Okay. Question your credit. Does having a credit card, a line of credit, or vehicle loan, or a student loan debt, would that impact you negatively, or is that making payments on a time affect your application? We do assess your financial status, but it's not a negative impact. Your vehicle loan or mortgage, these are all to endure in our life. That's just the way the society is set up. You can't have other situations where you can't go to school if it's not paid out right off the bat. You would have to take. These are not things that we look as a negative, but certainly we want to make sure your obligations being met. What I mean by that is you're making regular going into debt in the sense of collections agencies, bankruptcies, things of that nature, where you're defaulting on payments, we're not keeping up with the obligation of what you signed up for. That's what we want to see. But again, we will go over it to understand what your obligation is, but also in the background investigation, we will also look at what that means. Okay. On to the final questions here. We just less than 5 minutes here on our, like it always flies by. Just looking at a few questions that maybe I haven't had a chance to address. Looks like okay. So I was offered a position, and I'm going to the September class. Your AMA sessions helped me a lot. Thank you. I appreciate the kudos. Thank you for that message. Looking seeing you in September. I will probably see you there in training, whether it's academy at the Interior Police College. Please come by and say hello, Danny. A face to a name. All right. Maybe I'll highlight this final thing. How old do you have to be a police officer? Maybe I'll go over the minimum requirement wrap up for what that means. Okay, specifically, I know other police services have different requirements, but I'll talk to for the OPP what the you need to meet to submit the application. You have to be minimum 18 years of age. There is no age cutoff. Okay, there's no age cutoff, but as long as you're eligible, you have to be either one. For your permanent residency, you do not need to have the card. As long as you've been given the certificate that shows that you are getting your permanent residency, you can apply with that. You have to have your high school diploma. So, or the equivalent. What I mean by that is if you were educated in another country, we will respect that education as long as it meets Ontario. For that, if you go on our website, you can go through WES, which is a third-party company that provides the equivalency testing standard to ensure that the education that you receive. You have to have a Class G license with no more than 6 demerit points. Again, G1 and G2, you have to have a full G class license, and you can't have more than 6 demerit points at the time of your application. No criminal record unless you've received a pardon for your charges or convictions. Okay. You have to be able to read, write, and speak fluently. If you speak another language, that's amazing. That's great. Certainly, that would fall under the special skills area. But certainly, reading, writing, and speaking is a must. The standard first aid and level C CPR certification, that's not required at the application stage, but certainly before the job given, certainly we do require for you to have it. And finally, there's a fitness test component, which is you have to be able to meet level 7 or achieve level 7 on standard. So those are minimum requirements. You do not need an OACP certificate to apply to the OPP. I know I mentioned before, but the OPP does not. So that is what you require. Like I said, all the information that I didn't mention or speak about or covered, again, if you go on opp.ca/careers, you can get that. Read through it, go over all the information that we have listed there, read our frequently asked questions so you understand it. And then, look forward to seeing you at one of our events, whether it's in person or shuttles, information sessions, maybe at the Honda Indy, or maybe tomorrow at our Women's Symposium, as I mentioned at the start of the event today. We're really, really looking forward to this event. For those of you that did and will be attending. We look forward to welcoming you for this Women's Symposium, and certainly I think the milestone announcement that the OPP huge benefit, truly focusing on hiring more women into our organization, which really enhances us and moves us forward in so many ways than one. So, looking forward to seeing many of you there. But, in saying that, opp.ca/events for all the upcoming events that we have scheduled. And I'm sure we'll bump into you sometime down the line at the events that we host throughout the province. All right. So thank you again for taking the time to be here today. And we'll see you at the next session in a couple of weeks or earlier than that in person. All right. Take care, everybody.